Hello there, you're now with me, Handy Gui, and welcome to your 5 p.m. English news on TVS. Now let's dive into the top stories for today. Dato' Sri Najib Tun Razak has failed in his bid to adduce new evidence in his SRC International Sendirian Berhad case to nullify the trial that saw him sentenced to 12-year jail and a fine of 210 million ringgit. This was after a 5-member panel chaired by Chief Justice Tun Tengku Maimun Tun Mat unanimously dismissed the former Premier's application after hearing the submissions by Najib's legal team. The additional evidence Najib is seeking to adduce relates to the recent discovery that the trial judge, Dato' Muhammad Nazlan Muhammad Ghazali in 2006, was the General Counsel and Company Secretary for Maybank Group, who had the ultimate overall responsibility for the management and administration of all legal departments within the entire group. The federal court is set to hear Najib's final appeal on SRC case on Thursday, August 18. Now, the Sarawak government is amplifying its efforts to enhance the infrastructure and hospitality services to attract more premium tourists to the state. Premier of Sarawak, Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Rahman Johari Tunopeng said, this is to ensure that Sarawak remains the top tourism destination among tourists, which contributes largely to the state's economy.
Number one, when you see that we are getting our infrastructure road, one is Pengonio, the other one is coastal road, meaning mobility. People are mobile. If tourists want to enjoy our coastal area, they just take a ride on a car and enjoy. Number two, we have to build a lot of meeting places. Tonight, I want to share with you that we have decided to extend our convention center, another building. That will allow not only convention, but also for exhibition. A right place for exhibition in Kuching. We hope it will be completed by the year 2024, because we are going to have a major convention here on hydrogen. And the other one is want to build in Miri, another convention center.
Abang Johari added that the state government has planned to establish a medical center near Santubong Beach. This medical center would be a new form of attraction for the medical tourism industry, which indirectly contributes to the tourism sector of the state.
But one thing, we also want to improve our wellness. It's a sort of, from the medical point of view, because the water is oxygen. And this oxygen will sort of reinstate your energy and can fight diseases, including cancer. And we are going to have this wellness center also in Damai.
He said this when speaking at the Malaysia Hotel Association dinner on Monday night.
People have confidence in the economy, and yes, the challenges are there, and the government is totally committed to address those challenges so that to lift the people out of these challenging times.
At the same time, the implementation of targeted subsidies must account for two things, namely the current inflationary environment and that it should be done in phases. Meanwhile, on August 9th, Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Abdul Aziz reportedly said that considering the high global inflation, it is still too early to introduce targeted subsidies in Budget 2023. For the record, Malaysia's Consumer Price Index rose to a 12-month high of 3.4% in June 2022, led by a rise in food prices. However, the figure is much lower than the global average of 6.7% and 5.6% in emerging economies, due to the blanket fuel subsidy and the government halting an increase in electricity tariffs for households while slowing the rate of increase for commercial end users. As such, BNM has forecast the headline inflation to average between 2.2% and 3.2% this year, compared with Malaysia's long-term average of 1.6%.
It may be one of the most familiar words in economics. Inflation has plunged countries into long periods of instability, with a broad measure on the overall increase in prices or the increase in the cost of living in a country. Whatever the context, inflation represents how much more expensive the relevant of goods and services have become over a certain period. Now, is the public aware of the price hike and the measures to cope with it? Here's what they have to say earlier today.
Kami dah business about 6 months dekat situ. Jadi kami nak merasalah sebelum kenaikan harga dengan selepas. So contohnya kini tu memang ada berasa dari segi bahan mentah. Contoh untuk giant squid, sotong buncit yang besar ya. Dulu kami dapat beli dengan sekilo harganya RM14, now jadi sekilo RM18. Jadi gap kenaikan harga ya RM4 ya sangat-sangat tinggi. Sebagai peniaga memang kami orang terpaksa juga lah. Mau si mau terpaksa naikkan sikit harga jualan lah.
Berasalah barang naiknya itu. Lagi-lagi ada anak, pampers semua naik, barang susu naik.
Kena tu lebih menaik lah. Sebab pasaran dunia kena tu nak mengefek kita pun duit lah. Jadi rasa duit kita terlalu sikit nilainya kena tu. Bandingkan dulu lah.
When asked on comparing their spending now and back then, this is what they have to say.
Mun dulu kami rasa ada kenaikan yang sampai 3 kali ganda lah kami rasa kena tu. Ada part ialah untuk barang-barang belajar kami lah. Yang paling ketara ialah barang keperluan asas lah. Mun pakai nanggung kehidupan kita macam makanan lah yang paling berasa sekali kena tu. Yang lain kami rasa ya lebih pada spekulasi barang lah. Ada orang peniaga hanya cuba naikkan barang lah untuk gengsi. Kami siapa salahkan tidak je lah. Sebab kos kehidupan kena tu semua nanggung.
Perbelanjaan memang kini tu terpaksa kontrol supaya terlebih daripada bajet yang ada. Tapi dalam masa yang sama, kami orang mau cukup bahan mentah untuk dijual, diserve kepada pelanggan lah. Si dapat juga nak madah, oh tu sedah sebab harga naik. Si boleh juga. Sebab dari segi customer ya, kami orang kena mesti mau ada barang lah untuk diserve.
As inflation is on the rise, Malaysia is one of the few countries that managed to keep it in low levels of average of 2 to 3%. Whether you are a wealthy businessman or even a simple housewife, the changes of prices of goods and services will affect everyone as consumers. But will this be a short-term thing, or is it something that become more serious in the future? We will see. My name is Ahmad Azlan Shah with videographer Muhammad Nasrullah reporting for TVS.
See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally by heading on to our website TVSTVMY or follow us on our social media platform. That's all the time we have for TVS News at 5. I'm Handigui. Thank you for watching.